Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Cam, and welcome to the final stop on the road to James Gunn's Superman. We are literally days away, as of the recording of this, from James Gunn's Superman entering theaters. We have covered everything from Superman 1 to Superman Returns. That playlist link will be in the eye in the right-hand corner. Do check that out. But for now, we get to this one. We get to Man of Steel. And yes, this is the lenticular one, the Target exclusive. This was directed by some guy named Zack Snyder, the little indie filmmaker
Wait,
that
who?
hasn't.
Like who? What's his name? What
He's
did
a
he
little
do?
indie
Did he make that
filmmaker that
Dawn of the
hasn't.
Dead movie?
Did he
Yeah,
make
he
did he make
makes.
that Sucker Punch movie?
Yeah, no one really liked that, but I thought the soundtrack was kind of cool. But anyway, and this is Zack Snyder's version of Superman, where it picks up his origin, crashing on Earth, doing the whole thing, and his encounter with General Zod, who learns of his coming to Earth and basically decides, this is a nice planet. I think I'll turn it into Krypton. And that's your movie.
Well, way
To
to
call
sum
this
that up.
movie to call this movie divisive would be saying like the Pacific Ocean is fairly deep. When this movie dropped, even then people had opinions on it. People have opinions on it now. The Branch Snyderians, hello. I hope you got touched some grass today. But even back in 2013, when this movie was released, everyone had an opinion on it. You either loved it or absolutely hated it. It was the best thing, the best superhero movie ever made, or it killed Superman for decades to come. And this would start the DCEU, which had more bumps than a church parking lot, but it did launch their attempt at a cinematic universe a la the MCU, and let's just say it didn't really work. But we got Man of Steel out of it, and I've always had a complicated relationship with this movie, but even when I have disliked it, I've always said that this movie is misunderstood. I sit here now in 2025, and I can confidently say that while it is not perfect, I love this movie. It has a lot of very good things about it. It takes a lot of big swings. Not all of them hit, but when it does hit, I think it's genuinely excellent. And I think Snyder was onto something, but we'll touch on that when we touch on that. But Collins, you were saying this is your favorite Superman of all time, period. So unpack that.
It's my favorite Superman movie. First off, before we get started, Matt, what the heck? I love your shirt. What does it say on the side right there in your shirt?
Let me see.
Because I was like, trying to read them.
Ralph Fitti? I must be a logo that made the shirt or something.
But yeah,
Oh.
first off, I think this is a great Superman movie. I love it. This is what I wanted. Because I remember watching Superman Returns and not knowing like what I wanted. And first off, man, I want to hear your thoughts on this movie first.
Oh, you want to get my thoughts on that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to say this right now. It's a masterpiece. It's the best Superman movie that they've done. I love the new take that Zach did and David Goyer, who pitched that script years ago during The Dark Knight Rises and given us a grounded, realistic approach and a more of a science fiction contact movie. And when they first announced that Zach was going to be signed on to direct the film, I was so blown away by hearing that because I love what he did with Watchmen. I love what his superhero take on that of his vision of the movie. And Christopher Nolan was the one who gave who told WB they should hire him on because he loved his work on Watchmen. He saw the movie that it was kind of a way ahead of its time, giving us a little bit of the darker approach of this. What if this character did exist in our world, in our reality today? And when Henry Cavill was cast, nobody knew who he was. I didn't know who the hell he was until I had to look up on his IMDb page, and he's done the show called The Tudors, and he was in that Matthew Vaughn movie called Stardust. Remember that movie? He was only cameoed for only a short amount of time, and then I watched him in that movie, that Greek mythology film, the action film called Immortals. He played Theseus, which the movie was not that great, but I loved him in that film. I thought, like, no, this is definitely going to be, he's definitely going to be playing a great Superman. And I remember that he talked about this years ago when he got the call from Zack Snyder. He was playing World of Warcraft before he was like, and then he got the call from Zack Snyder and like, yep, you're definitely going to be playing Superman. And before that, he did audition for the role of Superman during that Superman flyby. When I think that was when J.J. Abrams was supposed to be directing that movie before Bryan Singer came on, and this was around the time that Brandon Routh was doing the same thing, but he was too young. But luckily, they were able to get him, and he was at the right age to play the role. And I think that it was the best casting choice that they have done at the time. And I remember I was really anticipating it. I remember going to the theater, seeing The Dark Knight Rises in the cinema. And they definitely announced that they were going to play the teaser trailer in front of that movie. And I saw that, and I looked around, and I looked at my brother, and was like, dude, that's fucking Man of Steel. It's the teaser trailer. What the fuck? I was going nuts. And they played that score from that Howard Shore score from the Fellowship of the Ring. Yeah, you remember. You were, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, they showed
I
like
remember.
the fire swing and like, you know, like
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then it
Bro,
says Henry Cavill, well, you hear Russell Crowe's voice, but if you watch it,
No, it was not Russell Crowe's voice. That was shown online. But when
Yeah.
they played it in theaters,
Scott
it was
Costner's
Jonathan Kent.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
hey, one day you're gonna have to make a choice. You're gonna have to decide what kind of man you want to grow up to be. And the shots that they did, it feels like it was gonna be something special. It has the very epic, somber tone that we haven't seen in Superman iterations before. And the shots looked beautiful. And this was a year prior to the movie's release. And you see Superman taken off in the sky. It looks so damn realistic of how they shot that scene.
You know, like,
And just like, it's in like a sonic boom. And it was a
And you
brilliant
see-
way to do the teaser trailer.
The lead up to the flying, where you see his fist and just the earth moves under his fist, and it's like a duh, and then just.
But I watched that
phenomenal.
trailer, I watched that teaser over and over again at the time. I was like, oh damn, I'm so ready to see Superman back in the big screen. And the poster that they showed when Superman was in handcuffs with the army surrounding him in that teaser.
Poster with him in handcuffs on the poster. I'm like,
I love that. It was the symbolism
yeah,
that he. I think it
that
added a
poster
little
goes
bit of the
hard.
symbolism of him being an alien, and that people are afraid of the unknown, and
Right.
afraid it just because that really added character.
show that cover of your movie again that you just had. That's my favorite cover. That's my favorite.
Yeah, that's my favorite poster. That's
It's just him
best
looking
one.
up, like, because I mean, him flying, and I'm like, it doesn't just looks like.
No, he's just looking. No, he's just posing, just looking straight up.
Yeah, I like that idea, that poster. I mean, to be fair, I was not a big fan of the Man of Steel poster. I think my favorite poster is probably the one where it has the symbol of him flying through the symbol. That's probably
Yeah.
my favorite. And that or the one where Henry Cavill's looking up. You know, like that. That to me is my two favorite ones. Although I was not all the trailers I thought were okay. The trailer that got me was the one where they did the message. You know, the marketing where they had "You are not alone," and then like.
That was an action trailer that they put in. That was the action trailer. For me personally, I loved every one of those trailers. Every single one of them had been banger after banger. My anticipation had gone through the level when they were putting out every trailer. Even that one first official trailer when he's in the ocean doing it in that Christ-like position. Oh, fuck, dude. That was mind-blowing. It just represents what the story is about. And you see Jonathan Kent telling his son, like, you got to keep your side of self a secret. What was I supposed to do? Just let him die? Maybe. Oh, that was something we never heard Jonathan Kent say something like that before. Because if you've seen in the context of the movie, he's trying so hard to protect his secret because he still needs to let him figure out who he is and what he is purpose in this world instead of just being jumped in the middle. Because once you reveal yourself to the world, it will change everything.
Yeah.
Like, we're not falling in the comic book world. We're falling to the more of the realistic world today. And how people would react if they existed.
It's a post 9/11 real world.
Yeah.
Superman existed.
That's right.
Yeah, and that's why I love this movie so much, because Superman Returns, and upon the rewatch of it for the video that we did with Robert Meyer Burnett, I gained a new respect for the movie in that I understood what Bryan Singer was trying to go for, and it mostly worked, but it felt more like a tribute piece. It felt very much like the end of something that had already begun. Man of Steel feels like the beginning of something more ambitious, and I feel like, to quote Marty McFly from Back to the Future, I guess you kids just aren't ready for that yet, but your kids are going to love it.
I guess you guys aren't ready for that yet.
Is that in 2006, when Superman Returns got, people did not want that. They were expecting something like Man of Steel. But then by the time we got to 2013, they were expecting something like James Gunn's Superman. They were not expecting Man of Steel. So I think that's where it was. It was just they were two different movies at a time. You know, like in 2006, people wanted Man of Steel. They wanted a dark and gritty Superman movie.
I think with the biggest, as much as I liked Superman Returns, but the most of the movie has been more of a callback and more of a memorabilia to the original Superman movie. It felt like more of a remake of the original film, and it just felt like that you're taking us back to what we have already done before, and it's adding the love story and adding the modern day mythos of him trying to find his place back in the world, while most of the people in the world doesn't believe that the world needs Superman. And there's not a lot of action in this movie, and that's what people were expecting coming out of it. They were expecting to have more of a retelling of the origin story. They were expecting to add a little bit as Superman being a badass, but still being more hopeful and joyful. But with this film, they wanted to go for the more gritty, edgier Superman. And some people did not like that idea, and they wanted to have the traditional Superman, but with some action. And that's the kind of style that James Gunn is approaching this one more. But this one, they wanted to go for the Elseworld story, which I respected it. I went in with a completely open mind, and it was not kind of what I expected when I watched that film. I always expected he puts on a suit, he learns about who he is, and he's doing Superman heroic things. That's what I thought that was going to happen in the movie, but it didn't happen. But looking back on the movie more over and over again, when I saw this in theaters, I really started to appreciate the take that what they were going for.
You know, I think some people had an issue because Superman kills in this movie, and that Superman basically like it just doesn't like people as parents like, oh, are you supposed to let him die? And he goes, yeah, maybe. And you're like, oh, like basically, your parents should be like, you could save everyone. Instead, they're like, oh, fuck the people. And I'm just like, it's not that. I understand what they were going for. Is basically saying if you try to intervene in real world events, just like in Superman the movie, if you try to intervene in real world events, things will change. And I think honestly, even like he's trying to prevent the mess that Donner predicted. Said Man in Superman.
It's like Robert Meyer Burnett mentioned when he brought that up. If I stop one war, do I stop all wars? Do I get rid of all the weapons that humans have used to protect themselves, or use to defend, or to attack? I mean, when you interfere, there are major consequences. It's not going to just give you a pat on the back.
I do like that Zod is like the opposite of Superman, where Superman is trying to basically be humble to this world and everything. Zod is basically trying to destroy this world to make new Krypton. I think Michael Shannon's fantastic as Zod.
He was the perfect choice to play this version of Zod, making him more of the complex and seeing from his point of view that in his view, he is the hero. And when he sees Jor-El, even though they're both after the same thing, they tried to reclaim their race and save their own race from a doomed destruction, from an intimate destruction. And when he rebels against Zod and when he tries to take over Krypton, he then sees himself as the villain from his point of view. And you want a character who believes himself to be the hero, because you've seen two sides of the coin duking it out, even though that Zod is wrong for doing what he does, but you get where he's coming from. And I love when villains do that. I love when we see that not all of them are all bad. They just been put down the wrong path and felt very misguided.
Ryan, what were you saying?
I was just going to say Zod is established as like a force like from the very beginning. Where this might be this is my favorite opening of any Superman movie. Not only do you see Krypton as like a dying planet and not just the Crystal Palace, no offense to the Donner films, I'm not saying they're bad, I'm just saying after that Smallville and Superman Returns of seeing the same old thing, I'm just glad that Krypton actually looks like a planet that once had an ecosystem and all of these things. I liked that level of detail there and just everything leading up to it, and the whole stuff with Jor-El and Zod and that whole thing, and Zod killing Jor-El just as Kal-El is leaving the planet, Michael Shannon doing the "I will find him," that whole thing, which it's been memed to death, but it's still pretty effective. So just that whole first 20 minutes where Kal then crashes to Earth and it cuts to Clark on the boat, that whole opening is just awesome.
Yeah, the first 20 minutes of Krypton was absolutely outstanding of what we made Krypton a living planet. We've seen what the people have done to that planet. Exhausting the natural resources is what caused the planet's destruction. It really just shows you the metaphor of what's happening in our world today. They're literally politicizing this whole thing, showing us how much we screwed up our resources and screw up our planet, and then we're doomed for the inevitable destruction. And I loved how they were able to tell that
And
story.
he tells them
And
there's a way we can all survive by going to the Phantom Zone. They're like, "Oh, you're fucking crazy."
Yeah,
You know?
and the council would not listen to him, and Zod is like, "I'm gonna get I'm gonna get this shit done," and he's gonna try to take
rule of
over.
authoritarianism, and he's just gonna go out there and just like kill all the cow. Like whenever he goes, when he shoots the council, he goes under who's there his mind, and he shoots that, and they're like, all of them are like, "Oh shit!"
No, he's like, "Screw the council; they're not listening to us, so we're gonna do it our own way. We're gonna find a way to save our own race, and I need you, Jor-El, as my friend, to join my side." And Jor-El refuses to do that. Like that, this is not the way to save Krypton and save our own people.
Rolling with an iron
And that
fist.
Kal-El is like the first natural born Kryptonian for throughout centuries, and that he is the symbol of hope. He's the one that can actually make a better world than what the people of Krypton could not have done in the first place. Because in Krypton, they were genetically engineered. They were engineered from predetermined to their society. Either you could be a worker or a warrior
I love the
or
line when he
a
goes,
leader.
"Without this, I have no purpose." And like, because he's like, his purpose is to serve Krypton, and without Krypton, he has no purpose. And he goes, "If I lose," then I love when he goes, "I have no purpose now. I'm just going to kill you and basically kill everyone on this planet. That's my whole purpose now." And I'm like, damn. I was like,
Yeah,
he's
he was not. He follows it all the way through. You like the moment that the moment that Superman destroys the Genesis Chamber, he saw him as the villain. And now I have nothing left to lose. You took everything I ever had, and this was the last chance that we can have to rebuild Krypton. But you chose the humanity over your own people. Now I have no people. Now I'm going to destroy everyone you ever loved, and
He's
he
just
will
gonna go
never
kill
stop.
people. He's just gonna go murder people left and right.
Yeah, he's going to create. He'll do it mass genocide hand to hand. He don't give a fuck
And
anymore.
then
And for him to
that
for him to make the choices that put it in Superman in the position to killing Zod was the smartest, bold choice they've done in any comic book movie history. I don't care what anybody else says. I will defend him killing
Yeah,
Zod.
I didn't have an issue with it.
Yeah.
I went, holy
He
shit.
even made
sure.
he even made it very clear to Kal-El. There's only one way out of this. Either you die or I do. There's no way out of this. You have no kryptonite. You can't put him in jail. You can't throw him in the fucking space. That's the dumbest argument that they ever come up with that debate. He was put in that position where he had no other choice. He was trying to find another solution to not kill Zod. But that moment came down to it. The moment he shot the heat vision and aiming at the innocent family, when he was putting them in the
And it's
chokehold,
murder.
he begged him to stop. Like, don't do this. And he's like, never. And he had to make and you could see the tears and the sadness in his eyes that he has to make that in a split-second decision to snap his neck. And only now, after killing Zod, he knew that now he's truly alone in this world and that he is the last of his own kind. And he didn't just sit there. He didn't just sit there and just be like, no, this is what you get, Zod. No, you see him crying at a devastation that he had to make that tough choice.
Ryan, what were you saying?
I have a mental list of like a top 10, 15 list in my head that I want to do a video of one day of my favorite dark moments in non-horror movies. This would be in the top 5 when he kills Zod and he gives that just scream. I remember exactly like when that happened when I was watching it at like at the midnight screening when it premiered in 2013. When that happened and he screamed, I was like, well, I'm not going to sleep tonight. Like, I am awake and like just and I'm lighthearted about it, but just it rocks you to your core just hearing that happen because he had no choice. He tried every other option, and like this was all that led to, as Matt has so eloquently stated. So,
Too bad.
so there are just some parts of this movie that people have had a moan about that I just never saw the point of, and we could do an entire video talking about.
But in that moment, piggyback on the scene when that moment for my reaction when I first saw that, I was like, how is he going to get out of this mess? Like, there's no kryptonite, you can't do anything. So what can he do? He can't talk him, he can't reason with them. And then the moment he snapped his neck, everybody in the audience was quiet. They were like, huh? And I looked around with my brother, and I was like, did he just kill Zod? Is he fucking dead? I was not expecting it, and I think people just are not used to seeing this Superman kill someone in cold blood, even with even had no other choice, because his principle is to not kill. Every iteration of the Superman mythos.
and let me be clear when I say this part. This is kind of what and obviously not this route necessarily, but this kind of darker general tone. This is what I wanted the DCEU to be, because keep in mind, Marvel in 2013, the MCU in 2013 was not like the Marvel it would become later in the decade. 2013 was low-key a crap year for them. Like, they had done Thor 2, which I like, but most
Iron
people
Man
don't.
3.
Iron Man 3 with the most
the two
disappointing
Marvel movies
twist.
I thought they were not good. I mean, I thought Iron Man 3 was kind of a disappointment, but it made $1 billion because it was coming off the heels of the success of the first Avengers. And
Y'all remember
Thor: The Dark
Agents
World?
of Shield? Pepperidge
Yeah.
Farm.
Oh god, don't even get me started on that show.
In Eternals. Not Eternals, but Inhumans.
Well, Inhumans was
No,
years
that was
prior to
not,
this.
That was not till later. That was 20.
That was way till later. And Thor: The Dark World was disappointment. Then they have the Fox's the X-Men universe, the Wolverine with James Mangold. That
That
came
was
out in
great. I
2013.
I
I thought the
liked that
theatrical
movie,
cut was
but
I thought the theatrical cut was okay, but I thought that the extended Unleashed edition was so far better.
Oh,
Even though the third act finale was really bad. It was a CG
Also,
fight that I did not
you wanna
like.
know
That
what's
was
messed up? I enjoyed the Wolverine better than Iron Man 3.
I agree with
Oh,
you. I
yeah.
totally
yeah, so 2013 was a very different landscape than what comic book movies are now today. And we could do an entire video talking about that. But the point is, I feel like this is leaning more on the point of I feel like Man of Steel was ahead of its time. I feel like it was in the right place, but just at the wrong time. And I feel like give it a little bit more time, I feel like it will be more respected. And I feel like outside of the cult, I feel like it has gotten a bit more of a respect. And we're days away as we're recording this from James Gunn's Superman, so the jury is still out on how that movie is going to be received. But I sincerely hope nothing but the best for James Gunn's Superman. It does look good, and I'm sincerely hoping, fingers crossed, that it is good. I feel like Man of Steel in a lot of ways got robbed, and I feel like my heart breaks for Zack Snyder because he's made some bad films, but so is every director. When he is on,
Have you seen
he's
James
on.
Gunn's Super? Super is a terrible movie.
I disagree. No, okay, I'm gonna have to be on the opposite. I love Super. I thought it was an underrated comic book movie.
I understand why, like, people like. I understand why some people like it. It's meant to be a trauma film, basically. Like, it's like
Yeah.
about a guy who, like, Jesus fixes his brain and he becomes a.
Did you notice that in Peacemaker, that vigilante character, he took a lot of influence from that Rainn Wilson's Super. That he was literally that character.
I hate that movie. That's the one.
Colin,
That's
I thought you of all people would love Dwight K. Schrute killing people with a wrench.
That was funny.
I
And
thought it was,
Kevin Bacon, like
I thought
goddamn
it
Kevin
was-
Bacon.
but it's just basically like it's a poor man's Kick-Ass is basically what it is. It's the poor man's Kick. So, like Kick-Ass is like they ironically they both came out around the same time. Super and Kick-Ass.
They did.
And Super is a way worse movie than Kick-Ass. Kick-Ass is great. I love Kick-Ass. I already watched Kick-Ass recently, a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, it still holds up well. And then I watched Super, and I'm like, oh god. I was like, I mean,
I don't care.
Like,
I love that movie. I don't
yeah,
care.
Elliot Page.
Yeah.
When Elliot Page was Ellen Page, runs and follows on a shotgun and blows Elliot's head off.
That was bold. I got to admit that was a bold move that we don't always get in a lot of superhero R-rated movies. That anyone could die. The stakes are high. No one's going to get out alive. It was to show you that we don't expect those heroes are going to make it out alive in this movie. And I thought that was a bold decision to kill off that character out of the blue in the middle of a firefight. Like, wow.
Speaking of moments that split the audience, let's talk about Kevin Costner doing the whole in the tornado. What's
Well,
everyone's
that to me
opinions
was
on
the
that?
stupidest scene out of the whole movie because he's like, I understand why he did it because he didn't want him to expose himself to the crowd. And then, of course, Clark, obviously Clark should not expose himself to like everyone in the crowd. And I understand that because you don't want, he didn't want his son being revealed to like everyone. But I'm like, I remember like, didn't he save that short bus like a couple years ago? Back when he was a teenager, yeah, I remember there was a bunch of mentally challenged kids on a short bus with Clark, and he saved his classmates. Okay, so I just remember that very vividly.
You have something against mentally challenged, dude?
I know. I'm saying literally,
Coming from a guy he's against it, like cancel him.
His mother, I was not going to bring this all the way up, but like, listen, because he has issues in normal class, his parents put him in special ed. And
well, we don't know. Oh, you're saying we don't know that. You're just assuming because there's a short school bus.
It was a short bus, dude. And on top
First of all, they did that on purpose because of the budget, because they can't have a regular fucking bus going off the goddamn bridge.
The bus goes in the water, and all the kids just sit there like, oh no. And then Superman's the only one that has the logic to get up and go, where the fuck are y'all not gonna get the fuck up? Like, bro, everybody's just singing like this, letting the water. And I'm like, what? Like, Superman's the only one that gets up and goes, really? No one else is getting up to get to the exit?
Dude, you're under fucking water. You can't get out of it. He has the strength to do it himself. What can they do? They're basically dying.
By the way, but I did think it was funny. By the way, did you know that this movie, that idea is the same plot from Trick or Treat? I was telling Ryan this. Like they literally, by the way, Ryan Singer was a producer on that too. And Michael Daltrey wrote Superman Returns. I'm like, there's a Superman connection because they both involve a plot of no Mickey Challenge kids going over on a school bus into a river. Only difference is Superman was involved with that one. Instead, that one was a much more darker movie. But I was just like,
of all the things to pull from, you pull from Trick or Treat, which I'm not crapping on Trick or Treat. I love that movie to death. But really I'm just saying that scene in that movie, that's the thing.
They would not do that scene today. They would not do that scene today.
No.
Oh hell no! We're gonna get shit for that. Which, but I will say though, like he saved that bus full of children though, and I'm like that right there. No one else was like, no, that wasn't the talk of the town,
Well, they were the talk of the town. The mother of Pete Ross outed him.
If we learned anything,
he's like, he saved the bus. He saw what Clark did.
If we learned anything from Smallville, Smallville's a very small place.
Yeah, it's very small.
I mean, well, it was a small place. If you see the third act of this movie, they fucking destroyed that shit. Smallville is gone.
Talking about my mother, and they crash.
No, I love that. I love when he just loses. Because if you understand the family connection to his parents, how much they gave him, they took him in out of love and gave him unconditional love. And to see Zod threatening him and decided to put the hurt in him, he's in the moment where your fucking ass is grass. I don't fucking care. You threaten my mom, you're fucking dead,
and
man.
Fayora and Non are basically just like
one thing I will say, I'm not a huge fan of Kevin Costner as Jonathan Kent, but the scene where he talks about how he took like the key, the titular key to every university, and then that whole scene in the garage, I thought that was great. And then
under the storm cellar, that was in the storm cellar.
He's like, can I just keep pretending that I'm your son? And like, you are my son. And they hug. That scene is great.
That scene got me emotional. That was so much better than the one that I love you 3000 moment. It's a great scene. It's a great line. But this one hit very hard.
I like the one where they're like when
he's like, hey, like he's finding out that he's an alien from another planet and he's adopted and he has another family out there who he has no knowledge of. It's like, and it's a huge burden that he has to bear. And he's like, you are my son. But someone out there that you have a father too who gave you another name. Like that scene really hit hard every time I watched that. It felt so much grounded and real, and it was well executed.
I actually like the scene more, the one with him, like wherever he's getting bullied by Whitney, and then like they look over and they see Jonathan Kent that's just staring at them, and then they walk away, and then Jonathan goes, "Are you okay?" And he goes, I can't hurt.
He's like, did they hurt you?
They hurt you most. And like he tells him, like he goes, "So why didn't you hit him?" He says, "Why?" And he's like, he just tries to have that heart-to-heart moment. Goes,
he's giving them moral lessons. Like, hey, like I wanted to hit that kid. I wanted to hit him so bad. Like, part of me wanted you to, but then what? Make you feel any better? Like he knows that he can hurt him, but he's trying to give him to restrain himself. He knows he can tear him apart, with no sweat. But he has to learn that it doesn't do anything better once you try to fight back. Like he's giving him that Uncle Ben lesson.
Yeah, which I really do. I love all the action, especially my favorite. I love it whenever the heart with Jor-El, and Zod. Whenever Jor-El goes to the fortress and he sees Zod, and they're having that moment where he goes and they're arguing. I like when Zod goes, "I'm arguing its merits with the ghost," and then he tells him and he tells him like, "I'm gonna kill your son," Which Zod, the darkest line for me is when Zod says to them, he said, "You killed my." When he asked Superman. he says, "You killed my father," and he goes, "Not a day goes by that I don't regret what I did. But if I had to do it again, I would." Like,
Yeah.
I'm just like, damn. And then
That's
he does
cold.
it again.
That was a cold line from Zod. Like
And then he
he'll
does it
do
again.
everything he can,
Does it
even
again.
if it means killing your own best friend to do it.
And then he
Yeah.
does it again, wipes out the hologram version of him too. And that's like the second time he had to kill this man in this movie. And I'm just like, he literally just doesn't. He just does this. He just goes like, this is for my destiny. This is my destiny. You know, this is.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
Let's rip this Band-Aid off now. I'm not a huge fan of Amy Adams as Lois Lane either. Amy Adams is a good actress. She has been very good in very many things. I've never been a fan of her here. I'm sorry.
Neither did I. I was not a fan of her performance. I love Amy Adams. I agree that she's an incredible actress. What her portrayal as Lois Lane was not doing it for me. The chemistry with Henry Cavill, there was no chemistry. It just felt one note. The idea of it, of him figuring out that Lois is the one who can only accept him for who he is, and he can share that secret with him, share that secret with her. And I love that idea, but the chemistry was not doing it, especially when he saves her life and getting out of that black hole from the Phantom Zone. Then they started doing making out, and that scene just felt very forced, and I just was not feeling it. And she doesn't feel like the Lois Lane that I know, and it just feels like she's been too soft and too boring, and I just wasn't a big fan of her portrayal.
I did like this. I will say she's not my least favorite Lois Lane. I mean, that's still Kate Bosworth, but like I still like I still think that she's not my favorite either. I think Erica Durance is my favorite Lois Lane, but like my Kate Bosworth's my least favorite Lois Lane. But I don't know if she's like the dead last. She's second to last, but she's not nowhere near the top. I think Terry Hatcher is better than her. Margaret Kidler, you know, I think those are way better Lois Lanes than, you know.
Like Betsy Tulloch from Superman Lois, far better. My top 3 favorite Lois Lane.
I don't know. So I have some parts of her I like, some parts of her I don't like. You know, so.
I don't care. I thought she was one of the best ones. I thought she really crushed it.
I don't think she's terrible. I mean, obviously, I think she's much better than Kate Bosworth. Like Kate Bosworth is just so awful. Like she acts like she's.
I don't know. I don't agree to that. I thought Kate Bosworth did a great job playing the role.
She's
I mean, I just didn't think that she was at the right age to play the role.
I just think honestly, Kerry Russell. Like remember when Robert told us that, like, look, Kerry Russell was right there. I think honestly, Kerry Russell should have been Lois Lane. I mean, honestly,
No, I agree. I think that she was in just doing the audition screen test and just read the lines to the actors mostly.
Yeah, which I think I think Robert even said I think she should have been Lois Lane.
No, I agree. I think she should have been. I don't think Kate Bosworth was a bad pick. I just think that she was not the right age to play Lois Lane around the same age as Brandon Routh, because she was in her early 20s when she was cast, while Brandon Routh was in his late 20s, which that kind of would not flow very well in the movie itself with their love story.
Also, she has a kid, and you're just like, how
Wait,
old are you? It's your little brother, not your.
Unless you want to age her up, then that would make sense. But you didn't age her up.
I mean, that should, like, you know, I'm just like, that was my issue. Because like, I just don't like Lois Lane.
The same reason why they didn't get Henry Cavill to play Superman at that time, because he was not at the right age.
Which, by the way, you know, the funny part is, in 2006, Henry Cavill lost the role of Superman and Bond also, because, and you know, the funny part is,
yeah, I saw the audition video too of him auditioning for Bond.
And the director told him straight up. He said, Martin Campbell said, I told Henry Cavill, I called him personally, I told him, look, if Daniel Craig did not exist, you would be Bond right now.
Dude, just imagine how different it would have been. He probably would have not have gotten Superman. He probably would have continued to play Bond for many years.
Oh, yeah. I think honestly, I mean, yeah, because that's obviously, but I think honestly, I think Daniel Craig was a better choice. You know?
No, don't get me wrong. Yeah, I fucking love Daniel Craig's Bond. I think he was one of the best modern day Bond at the time. But it would have been great to see Henry Cavill play Bond. I mean, I know he probably won't play it now, but it would have been so cool if he did. Because if you watch The Man from U.N.C.L.E., that was directed by what was Guy Ritchie, who directed that film 10 years ago. That movie came out 10 years ago, and he played it off the old fashion of Bond from the 1960s, and that would have been a great choice.
Yeah, which we'll never know. I mean, unless MGM decides to cast him, which I think I heard.
If they did, then that would be awesome. I don't give a fuck. I mean, he still looks great in this age.
I know everybody either wants Aaron Pierre, or they want Timothy Chalamet, which I'm like, he's not.
I highly doubt they're not going to cast Timothy
I know
Chalamet.
people keep saying Timothy Chalamet is Dennis, but I'm like,
Well, just because he's working in Dune, like, doesn't mean anything.
you can't cast a Brit is like that's like saying, oh, we should cast Mike Myers as James Bond.
The studio,
Henry
even the
Cavill's
studio, MGM is recommending that Tom Holland should get should
No,
audition
Tom
for
Holland
Bond.
is not.
No, I'm not saying I'm not saying he should. I'm just telling you what the studio wants. And that's not even what Denis Villeneuve wants.
I think Idris Elba a couple of years ago would have been a perfect Bond.
Oh, if it had been like 10 years ago, then yeah, I would love to see him play Bond.
Yeah, because I think he is still my favorite black actor, and I really like. I can't wait to watch G7 or not G7. The Head of State movie.
It looks terrible. That movie looks.
I love it.
Trash.
It looks like
It's already out on Amazon. It's already out.
It has already came out, dude.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
It come out Friday.
No, it already came out. It's out on Prime right now. And I watched the trailer. It looked trash.
I thought it looked
awful.
like Hitman's Bodyguard, but with like John.
It looks like a fucking poor man's Hitman's Bodyguard.
That's why I'm like, this looks like fun.
And look, I'm glad that John Cena and Idris Elba
Did you
worked
see
together
how
again
that-
since the Suicide Squad. That's great and all, but it looks trash.
That's
I mean, how many
probably why
Prime
they-
movies that John Cena was in that have been any good? Name one, I dare you.
What, one John Cena movie?
Because he's been in a Prime movies too, like John Cena.
The Suicide Squad. He's in that.
No, that's not a Prime movie. That's a WB DC
Prime
movie.
I thought you
I'm
meant
talking
like
about Prime
studio
movies.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm talking about Prime movies.
I don't know how many Prime movies has he done.
He has done a few comedy that were fucking awful. He's
Oh,
done
yeah,
the
he
one
did
with
that
Zac
Steve Harvey
Efron.
movie. He did Ricky
Oh.
Stick. I hated Ricky Stick. There's
There
like
you
one
go.
funny scene in the entire movie, and that's the one I keep sharing. The whip.
Like any other movies that are outside, the Suicide Squad was the only movie that he'd done that were actually good. The rest of Bumblebee. Yeah, you can count Bumblebee.
Bumblebee.
He's not great in that movie, but I loved Bumblebee.
What about
But
the
other
Marine?
than that, then most of the movies have been awful.
What about the Marine?
The Marine was more of a guilty pleasure. It's a bad film, but it's a fun movie to watch. And he wasn't even real acting at the time. He was just starting.
Also, Blockers.
Blockers, okay. Okay. Never mind. I forgot about Blockers. I loved Blockers. That was an underrated comedy, which it was basically more of a ripoff from American Pie.
And also that one Amy Schumer movie, the one Trainwreck.
I tried watching Trainwreck. I couldn't get into it.
He's great in that when but I mean,
But he was mostly just doing a
supporting.
cameo.
Yeah. Same with like that one movie, Sisters. He's more of a cameo, but I like John Cena. I like John Cena. I mean, I will say this.
I think that the role that he's strongly comfortable with is playing Peacemaker, and that's his strength with
when
the
he
right
does
people.
comedies, he's perfect. But when he does try to do serious action, like I remember Fast and Furious 9, when he's the tough guy going like, I'm like, no one.
When you see him trying to be serious, that's when
he's like goofy and everything, and I'm like, yes, that is what we want with John Cena. We want.
Do you know? It reminded me of the early days of Channing Tatum as an actor in the early days before he did 21 Jump Street. When he started doing comedy, he started showing a lot more range in his acting ability. That when he does comedy, he hits it.
Same with Ryan Reynolds. I mean, like Ryan Reynolds is better.
Well, Ryan Reynolds is great. And watch him in a dramatic role. He really does a great job with dramatic roles.
Smoking Aces.
The one movie that I think that was my favorite of his performance is Buried. Watch that film in a dark room, feel claustrophobic. The whole movie is him in a fucking coffin.
It said Robert Pattinson was in a movie, and I'm like, Robert Pattinson's not in this movie, and it was a different Robert Pattinson. I was like, Robert Pattinson in this movie? I was like, what is he like? I'm like, and so I watched it, and I'm like, he's not in this movie. It's a different Robert Pattinson. So I thought that made me mad. I'm like, maybe Robert Pattinson should change his name, okay? Should change his name.
Yeah, you know that director Tom Holland that directed what was that that vampire movie? The original vampire.
Fright Night, my favorite movie, Fright Night.
Fright Night, yeah, Fright Night was directed by Tom Holland, and it's not the same Tom Holland from Spider. You remember that? That reminds me of that.
Yeah, there's three different Tom Hollands. There's Tom Holland, Tom Hollander, which is the bad guy in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies 2 and 3.
Yeah,
and it was also Bohemian Rhapsody. Then there's Tom Holland, the little kid, which, by the way, for SAG rules, he should probably change his last name. Like Michael Keaton had to change his name to Michael Keaton because his name was Michael Douglas. And there's already a Michael Douglas, which I'm sure Michael Keaton.
Did you know that? Yeah, Michael Keaton had to change his name too. That was not his actual legal name.
So happy right now that Michael Douglas is retiring because I can change my name back to Michael Douglas. Yeah. Michael Keaton's like the biggest, like, yes.
Well, he can do. Well, it's Michael Keaton. He can do whatever he wants now.
He's trying. That's what he said. He's trying, but he said he can't work in Hollywood if he changes his name back to Douglas.
Because then I think it's too late to change the name now, even if he's retired.
The reason why is because this is what happened the other day. Tom Hollander got a residual check from Tom Holland, from Spider-Man, and he looked at it. And he said, "This is more money than I have made on any of my projects before."
I mean, speaking of Tom Holland, I mean, I've heard. I mean, did they already play that teaser trailer of the Odyssey in front of Jurassic World Rebirth?
Yes,
I still
they
want to see.
I went and saw last night F1. Okay. And by the way, first off, I love that movie. That was
I
great.
totally agree. It's incredible.
Yeah,
And
it's so
before
good.
I did, before I was waiting in the lobby, and I was waiting because they had the doors open right across the street was the
Mhm.
Jurassic World, and so I was watching the trailers, and then I said I saw the Odyssey, so I walked in there and I sat there and watched the trailer for a second, and it was just basically John Berthon narrating and Matt Damon laying in the water, and then birds and everything, and then they see like the Trojan horse from
Yeah.
Troy, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
basically the John Berthon going, you can't, your dad, he's this, you can't protect him, Rick. Yeah. I'm John Bertha. Your daddy's this, huh? He's just more of a legend.
Carl.
He's just doing like his Shane accent. I'm
They
like,
did.
John
They
Bertha's
did.
the same
They
character.
did show those still images from the Odyssey teaser. They showed it the still images, but Tom Holland and John Berthal.
To put the period at the end of the sentence of Man of Steel, though, at the end of the day, I feel like I said, the movie is imperfect, yes, but I still am gonna give it an amazing grade. You know what? Screw it. It's my favorite Superman movie, just followed closely behind Superman 2. I've had an up and down relationship with it, and I still maintain that it is my favorite. Again, not perfect. Definitely has its problems. And if you all watching this have problems with it, then by all means, then I'll support it as long as it is within reason. However, I do believe that Zack Snyder was trying to do something with this, and I feel like it never really came into fruition and saw the light of day. And again, without going too deep into the weeds on that one, because we'll be pulled in like that scene in Two Towers where the ghosts in the lake pull Frodo into the lake, and we'll just be lost. So the point is that I feel like, while not perfect, it is a masterpiece. Make no mistake.
Is any work perfect?
Not really, no. I mean, you can find flaws in pretty much anything.
The
Try
16
watching
chapters have flaws.
try watching Cinema Sins. He'll nitpick every fucking little thing in every
Dumb.
movie that are beloved.
Don't
Well,
get-
I saw
don't get-
Tarantino said that Jaws is a perfect movie, and like even Steven Spielberg said, no, there's lots of flaws in that movie.
Yeah. Depends on your definition of perfect.
Like Steven Spielberg said, it's an okay movie. Steven Spielberg is the biggest critic of that movie. He goes, I hate that movie. And that's why Steven Spielberg said, I did not direct the sequel because I hated that movie. And Steven Spielberg says, I will never in my life, I would direct a Jurassic Park movie, an Indiana Jones movie, or anything else, but I will never in my life, as long as I'm alive, will direct a Jurassic Park, another Jaws movie never again. He says, I will
when you
never.
have to deal with a drunk Robert Shaw, that tends to happen. But I pass it off to all of you. What did you think of Man of Steel? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to read what you have to say. I'm just saying a preemptive prayer for the comment section of this video because the Lord knows we're probably going to get some venom, but that's okay.
Venom.
They're gonna
but,
taste like venom.
Venom.
Tom,
But
how do you say this?
This has been a really entertaining road too. I mean, having Robert Meyer Burnett on is just like the cherry on top. But I mean, just
There was
going
someone that
through
we
the
wanted to
movie,
bring on as a guest, but we couldn't get a hold of them.
it was a timing thing. It was how it was. But
But you know what? I'm
This-
glad to
but-
have you guys on here.
For sure, dude.
absolutely, and when this drops, we'll be within a couple of days of the wide release of James Gunn's Superman. And when we all eventually see it, we will do a spoiler-filled stream of it or pre-recorded. I'm going back and forth. I'd like to do just a stream of it, just so it's a little bit more fresh in the head.
We
But
will
regardless, we'll do something.
me and Ryan
Yeah.
will either be very happy or very mad, or all three of us will be like, "This is the worst piece of shit ever." Restore the Snyderverse. No, we're not going that far. Like
Or
we will.
or we'll all love it. It's
Yeah.
really, the jury is still out. I mean, literally, we're recording this Monday, the 7th of July, and the premiere is happening as we speak. So
Yes.
the reactions we will wake up to tomorrow morning will set the tone, let's just say.
Yeah, the
But,
reaction
like I
embargo
said,
drops later tonight, and then
I'm
the
gonna
review
say,
embargo drops tomorrow night.
If this movie is like The Flash, if it's just like another Flash movie, like it was just like the Flash Part 2, essentially, where Superman, where it's like as goofy as the Flash. I will be so angry. I will be angry. I will be just like in tears of how angry and mad. I will be like fuming. So that way, when we do this for live recording, I'll be like,
well, have you not noticed in the marketing that it has some goofy stuff in the trailers?
yeah, but like, I mean, the Flash though was like, very goofy. I don't want Superman to be like the Flash and be like, hey guys, I'm Superman.
I don't think he'll act like that.
Whoa, guys! Oh my God, that's like Sleuth and Brown. I thought that was like.
I highly doubt that he'll do that.
If they did that, I'd be angry. I'd be angry.
Have you seen the clips? Him
Yeah.
angry at him. You see him losing his. You see him just like jumping out of his seat.
I have not
Like,
seen anything that indicates that the Superman's an idiot. So, so that's a good sign for me so far.
But Collins, where can the people find you?
3dmoviecinema.com, where I just uploaded my review for what was the one I just uploaded? Jaws for 50th anniversary. I did see F1 and Sinners. I'm working on both reviews right now to drop them this week. And then Friday I will have my review for Superman, and then Sunday we will do the live spoiler discussion. And so by the time this airs, maybe F1 review will be dropped. And then Sinners will follow, which, by the way, also, spoiler alert, loved Sinners as well. Sinners was great.
Yeah, Sinners is one of my favorites of the year. So
it's
link
in
below
so far. It's in my top 3. It's in my F1 is now my favorite film of the year so far. We still know we got a lot more to go. It's still too early to say.
The Penalty Man.
Yeah, we have half a year, so let's not get ahead of ourselves. But F1 and Sinners are definitely in my top 5.
Can you imagine if F1's the best movie of the summer? Like nobody likes Superman, but F1 was the best movie of the summer. That would be crazy if that was the case.
I kind of expect some people who already seen this movie, some of them who would have a grudge against James Gunn because they don't like his vision of the movie. Some of them are going to give a negative feedback on that one. I mean, that's bound to happen.
I've heard someone say Head of State is a much better movie than Superman.
I don't know what fucking they've been smoking.
Ryan saw that review and we were like, what?
Like that has to be a fake review. I mean, sometimes I just don't always buy some of the reactions when they broke the embargo.
It was actually someone from Variety that dropped it early and said that he said Head of State is not a great movie, but at least it's nowhere near as bad as Superman. And I was like, what? And then they had to reject that once that came out. And then it has to an untitled to a superhero movie yet to come. And I'm just like, you already said Superman. You might as well just.
I was gonna say, protect yourself. You could people think it's like Fantastic Four First Steps or something. But
and then the guy just put Superman.
Matt Wyatt, what about you?
You can find my channel at Matt Wyatt 92. I dropped a couple of reviews of F2 and 28 Years Later. I did a trailer reaction to Edgar Wright's The Running Man. I did a couple of YouTube shorts where show up a couple of my physical copy of Back to the Future and The Sandlot. I will be doing more of that on my YouTube shorts where I show off a lot more my Blu-ray movies. So I'm excited. And I will be dropping my non-spoiler review for Superman probably on a Friday because I'm going to be seeing it this Thursday, and I'm really excited. I'm really just fingers crossed, hope for the best.
Yep, all their links are down below. Go give them a subscribe. As far as this channel goes, now that this Road 2 is over, I will be covering some Fantastic Four stuff and then some Naked Gun stuff. So stay tuned for all of that. And of course, Talking Gotham is every Tuesday here on the channel, so be on the lookout for that. But for Jacob Collins from Matt Wyatt, my name is Ryan Cam. We will see you all in the next one. And all that I have to say is, hey, buddy, look up.